And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know, it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you this content. Now, as you can see on your screen, y'all, your girl, Stacey Abrams is in a little bit more trouble today, or could be, okay? Because the Georgia Senate has approved an investigation into an organization that Stacey Abrams was linked to. Now, this is not the only Stacey Abrams linked organization that is currently under investigation. So let's just take a look here. The AP is reporting that Georgia's Republican dominated Senate is going forward with an investigation of Stacey Abrams, a move that comes as President Donald Trump has made a target of the two-time Democratic nominee for Georgia governor. So basically, the Georgia State Senate's after her, and Donald Trump has also mentioned her in such a way as to seem to indicate that he would like to see her investigated on the federal level as well. Now, Republican State Senator Bill Cowsert of Athens said Thursday, which is today, that he and other Republicans want to further examine recent ethics findings that voter participation group New Georgia Project improperly coordinated with Abrams' 2018 campaign for governor. This is what Cowsert said, quote, "We have developed somewhat of a problem these days with dark money in politics, with secret money being used to fund campaigns. The whole purpose of our campaign finance law is to put sunshine on the issues." They also want to probe claims by new U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin that $2 billion was improperly given to a coalition of groups trying to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. Abrams worked with one of the groups until the end of last year, but Trump and other Republicans have made Abrams the face of their criticism of $20 billion in grants awarded by former President Joe Biden's administration, with Trump calling out Abrams in a recent joint address to Congress. Now, y'all know that the Trump administration under Lee Zeldin has apparently been able to stop the $2 billion disbursement to the Abrams linked organizations. So we covered that in a previous video. But this is not the only problem that Stacey Abrams organizations are having. There's also a push to have at least one of her linked organizations to have their tax exempt status stripped. Okay. Now that's this New Georgia Project. And we have a congressman pushing to have the New Georgia Project's tax exempt status revoked, okay, due to what he considers election interference. So we're going to shoot into that report as well. Now, we did cover this on the other channel, okay, y'all? So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, y'all, Stacey Abrams, the hits just have kept coming for her ever since Donald Trump won the election and took over the White House. Stacey Abrams she just can't catch a break, y'all. Check this out. Now, Stacey Abrams founded nonprofit faces crackdown threat from House GOP's top tax writer. What the heck does that mean? Let's take a look. The House of Representatives' top lawmaker on taxation is urging the IRS to revoke the tax exempt status of a nonprofit linked to former gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. The Abrams-founded group New Georgia Project was recently fined $300,000 for violating state election laws in a ruling by the Georgia Ethics Commission. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith, a Republican from Missouri, called it, quote, the largest penalty in the Ethics Commission's history and possibly the largest ethics fine ever issued in the United States, in his letter to IRS Commissioner Melanie Krause. The commission unanimously charged the New Georgia Project with failing to disclose more than $4 million in campaign contributions and more than $3 million in expenditures while backing Abrams' failed 2018 gubernatorial. Do y'all like that word? That's a weird word, isn't it? Gubernatorial campaign. Now, y'all, here is the letter I am going to use one of my magnificent voices to read this letter to you in case you want to hear the entire thing. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Dear Acting Commissioner Kraus, I write today to refer the New Georgia Project, a Georgia-based 501c3 tax-exempt organization, for investigation and ultimately revocation of its tax-exempt status. In January 2025, the Georgia State Ethics Commission, GSEC, fined the New Georgia Project $300,000, the largest penalty in the Ethics Commission's history and possibly the largest ethics fine ever issued in the United States, for illegal contributions to Stacey Abrams' 2018 gubernatorial campaign. The New Georgia Project, which at the time was led by U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock, admitted to 16 violations of state law. The GSEC found that the New Georgia Project failed to disclose over $4.2 million in contributions and over $3.2 million in expenditures during the 2018 election cycle. As you know, under Internal Revenue Code Section 501c3, organizations are strictly prohibited from participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. The IRS may revoke an organization's tax-exempt status or assess excise taxes for certain types of violations if it determines the organization is non-compliant as it relates to political campaign intervention. According to the GSEC's findings, the New Georgia Project accepted contributions and made expenditures for communications of express advocacy in the 2018 cycle to influence the election for governor to the benefit of Stacey Abrams' candidacy along with other statewide candidates. The New Georgia Project's intervention in the 2018 election cycle in support of Stacey Abrams and other candidates' campaigns amounts to a clear violation of their tax-exempt status. The IRS has previously revoked the tax-exempt status of a 501c3 organization for violating the prohibition on political campaign activity. In 2014, the IRS issued a final adverse determination regarding an unnamed organization's tax-exempt status for having participated or intervened in political campaigns on behalf of and in opposition to candidates for public office by publishing and distributing statements. This determination letter cited United States Department of the Treasury Regulation Section 1.501c3-1c3, which states that if an organization engages in certain activities, including participation or intervention in any political campaign, they are classified as an action organization, which is an organization deemed to not have operated exclusively for tax-exempt purposes and thus is not an organization described in Section 501c3. The GSEC's findings show that the New Georgia Project has participated in activities and events outside of the organization's tax-exempt purpose and should therefore lose its tax-exempt status and be reclassified as an action organization. While the Internal Revenue Code does allow for 501c3 organizations to engage in certain nonpartisan voter education activities that do not constitute prohibited political campaign activity, including public forums and publishing voter education guides, it is clear that the New Georgia Project crossed the line into prohibited activity by intervening in the 2018 election cycle on behalf of Stacey Abrams and several other candidates. As the New York Times wrote in January 2025, the New Georgia Project's admissions raised questions about whether it had also violated the provision in federal tax law that bars tax-exempt charities from endorsing candidates. I request that you use your authority to make this referral a priority and make certain the IRS moves quickly to examine and revoke the tax-exempt status of the New Georgia Project. Thank you in advance for your time, cooperation, and response. If you have any questions, please contact Ways and Means Majority Staff at 202-225-XXXX.
So we're seeing with Stacey Abrams, y'all, like, you know how anything Midas touch turns to gold? Well, it seems like Stacey Abrams right now, at least for the time being, y'all, seems like whatever she touches is turning to lead, y'all. I mean, she even had Elon Musk call her out. Check this out.
Is it incompetence that you're finding, or is this like the biggest money laundering scheme in the history of the world that you're finding?
Look, I think it's mostly, if you say, look, what's the waste to fraud ratio?
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like 80% waste, 20% fraud. But you do have these sort of gray areas.
Yeah.
So,
Example
would be, so we saw a lot of payments going out of Treasury that had no payment code and no explanation for the payment. And then we'd try to figure out what that payment is, and we'd see that, okay, that contract was supposed to be shut off, but someone forgot to shut off that contract, and so the company kept getting money.
Wow.
Now, is that waste or fraud?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, both.
It's sort of
If
a
you
gray
know you're
area
getting something
because
you're not supposed to get.
you're not supposed to get it, but the government sent it to you, and nobody from the government asked for it back. Or take, for example, the $1.9 billion given to Stacey Abrams,
Yeah.
a fake NGO.
Utter insanity.
Explain that. Forget
That's
it. Don't know
too-
the
That's
story.
cor- that-
But
that's
that's
corrupt.
corrupt.
That's just corrupt, I think. That's paying off cronies at that point.
1,000%.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, she knew. Like when you get $2 billion, you don't miss that. That's
It's
not.
not an accident.
That's not.
Allegedly, it was for environmentally friendly appliances
Yeah.
or something, and they've given like 100 appliances so far for $2 billion. It's a very expensive toaster
But
or
they're
whatever.
really nice.
One hell of an appliance.
That Sub-Zero fridge, boy,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Right. This is obviously one of the biggest scam fraud holes we've uncovered, which is really crazy. Is that the government can give money to a so-called nonprofit with very few controls, and then there's no auditing subsequently of that nonprofit. So there's no. So this is where with the 1.9 billion to Stacey Abrams, they then give themselves extremely lavish, like insane salaries, expense everything to the nonprofit, buy jets and homes and all sorts of things.
Live like kings and queens.
Yes,
On the taxpayer dime.
correct.
You
And
mentioned
this is happening at scale. It's not just one or two. We're seeing this everywhere.
So now I want to hear from you. Do you think people are picking on Stacey Abrams because she's an easy target? I mean, she ran for Georgia twice. She lost both times. She was an election denier before it was cool. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Stacey Abrams just has one of those profiles where people just want to pick on her. Or do you think that she deserves it? Do you think that the way she's put herself out there, the type of work she's done, all of these financial scandals surrounding organizations that she's either started or been associated with, do you think it's just like, no, listen, you're a public figure and we're going to scrutinize you just like everybody else? I'd like to hear what y'all have to say. Thank y'all for watching. But first, before we go, y'all stop right now, hit the share button, share this video out with somebody else. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Thank you for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.